Frederick had asked me to help him with a project on his school pertaining to the quail population of Cleveland County back in the late 40s, 50s, and 60s. At one time, quail hunting in Cleveland County was a big sport. And then, not long after the quails began to decrease, the government came out with a program through the ASCS program to encourage farmers to stop their production in cotton and also grassland. And that's where quail get their source of food, was especially in the open fields and around. And the cotton, of course, has nothing to do with quails, but it was also included to get rid of the excess that was being created. But through the years, they came with the program. They had a program that would pay the landowner for 10 years money to not produce pasture land or even cotton. And when that program came out, it had to do with planting of the pine trees. And unfortunately, through the years, the pine trees have grown up. They forced the quails to almost to non-existence. But they have a program now that the Game and Fish and the USDA are working on to reestablish the quail population even in South Arkansas. They have a meeting scheduled in Warren with the Game and Fish, and they're trying to encourage people to establish food plots, and kind of like they do with the deer population. But with the quail population, with so much of our land now is being clear cut, the pine trees that were planted years ago are ripe now for harvest. Well, when they harvest, they clear the land, and that makes an ideal setting for the planting of a habitat for quail. And that program is what they're trying to reestablish through the Game and Fish. And if you've never tasted quail before, you missed a real treat. We used to hunt quail at least twice a week, and normally our quail population, we call them a covey or quail, would have anywhere from 12 to 15 in their group. And when you would hunt that particular area, we'd always kill down until about 6 and quit hunting it. And that would leave enough quail for reproduction. But the pine trees have forced all of the quail, and I hadn't seen a quail in 20 years. So hopefully through this new program, people will get involved and with the planting of the food plots and establish and get the quail population back, because the ideal situation has developed with the clearing of the land. Quails like an open environment. They can't survive in pine trees because there's nothing there for them to eat. And thus, that's what's happened to our quail population.
How would quail hunting how did it affect the population during the hunting season? Or would people come in
Or if you have a good population of quails, it's kind of like the deer hunting. You know, people come in from everywhere to hunt the deer. Same way with if you had a good population of quails, you would have people come in and hunt, and thus by having people come into your county, it produces revenue. They're going to buy something. A lot of them set up camp, and that's what I'd like to see. It's like everybody sets up a deer camp. It'd be nice to have a quail camp set up.
All right.